I'm not on a train, I'm currently in the middle of the Irish Sea on the ferry, on the boat between Holyhead and Dublin. Alstom got in touch because the brand new commuter train to the Dart network is coming to Ireland, is coming to Dublin, and we're going over to the depot to have a look. So these are the new Alstom built trains for Irish Rail. They're calling them their new Extrapolis commuter train. They're 5 cars long, 82 metres in length, and 31 of them are battery electric units. That's a BEMU, a first for Ireland, with 6 more just being electric. They're all part of a massive improvement plan coming to Dublin called Dart Plus, but more on that later.
I know I don't look it, but I'm actually old enough to remember when the Dart first started. Rail is one of those projects that every single time, build it and they will come, and passenger demand busts through all the projections every time.
So I joined the queue of people literally lining up the steps to get on board and went for a look around. I'm actually going to come back to the cab and we'll just enter the main unit first. We'll have a little cab tour later. It goes up and down slightly. There's a step back there and there's a step at the other end. That's deliberate because the floors are low for brilliant level access at stations. But it means that when you get to the bogies, there's a slight hump up within the carriage and then it humps back down again. So there's this bright blue maquette with a yellow stripe going through. I'm told that there was public consultation and 5 different designs were considered, and then people chose this one. Got the grab handles there. High back seats as well. I'm thinking I'm going to go for a ride on the existing Dart trains later. There's 2 different units, aren't there? And some have high back seats and some have low back. But check out here the USBs. There's an A port and a C port. But it's up here. It's at headrest level. Normally you're sort of scrabbling down on the floor, but they've put them up here. I've got Piers with me. We're going to demonstrate something which you can't do on the existing Dart line. There's 2 types of different stock. And Piers is saying that when you sit, your knees clash here. If you now like to take a seat, Piers, you're saying there's now the knees don't clash, so we can sit here quite comfortably
space,
with a healthy gap between our knees not touching.
So I was on the Dart this morning and I was literally like this.
You're sort of like that, yeah. And now there's actual proper space. And there's a space underneath the seats. You can see it's cantilevered, so not only do your knees not touch, but you can then slide your luggage or your bags underneath the seat. Now, sadly, we don't have one of these working today. Can you see here, there's like a square here. That is an access panel because for the level boarding, they've got what, I'm trying to think, is it the Greater Anglia trains? They have the little, what do you call it then? What the bit that slides out? What's that called? A sliding step, but it's level. And you're saying up to 300 millimeters, it will sense the gap of where the platform is and go out, and that level ramp goes out first and then the doors open. Yeah. So you've got that on every train, on every door, so that it's now perfectly accessible and you can just come in. That's great. They're walk-through trains. There's this very short gangway section here, so unlike the existing Dart units, you can of course just walk all the way down. These are 5-car trains. You can of course couple up 2 to make a 10-car unit. We're in the middle one, so it's 3 by whichever way round you count from. We're in the accessible area. There's one accessible area over there. I'm standing in the other accessible area over here. There's a couple of flip-down seats here. I've been pointing out an amazing feature, which are these 2 sensors up in the roof here. And what this does is that if you're parked up here as a wheelchair user, that will then notify the driver that a wheelchair user is in this space, and that information can also be relayed onto stations that are coming up, so you know that there is somebody using the accessible area. You've also got this area here with 4 flap-down seats, which is the buggy area, denoted by that symbol there, which is also on the outside of the train as well. Currently sat in the priority seats, denoted by these. It's the same style seat though, and the windows are huge. So every pair of seats is definitely lined up with a. And you know, it was so clean. I didn't actually think that was a window for a second. There is a bit of glass there. It's just the depot outside. Okay, big window.
That's how you press that button.
Now I've made a friend in a chap called Mark, who's from Rail Users Island. Now, amusingly, I was going to bring a tape measure with me. So this is Mark. Say hi.
Morning.
And down here, you've literally got a tape measure. What's it coming in at?
260 centimetres.
What's that in old money?
Oh, about 9 foot, just over 9'7"ish.
And again, whilst you're here, remind us, Irish gauge is what? It's 5 foot something?
5'3".
Which is, I want to say 1600 millimetres exactly. Because we measured that earlier.
We did, yeah, just be sure. And the seats are wider than our older trains.
Did you measure the seats? What happened?
We did.
And?
They're about 15 centimetres more space for your knees than were on the previous train.
Somebody keeps playing the audio announcements. In a minute we might get one, but there's a sign there saying CCTV, and sure enough, just up there, you can see there is the little CCTV camera that goes right down the train. We've come outside. My new best friend here, Juan, is just going to explain to me about the battery technology and just talk about how the train is powered.
As an EMU, before going to the batteries, we have on the underframe, we have all this EMU standard equipment. And when we go to the roof, on the very end of the train, we have 4 battery cases, each one of 105 kilowatt hour. And then we have 2 cooling systems and a DC-DC converter that steps up the voltage from the batteries, which is 800 volts, up to 1.5 kilovolts. And that fits to the traction case here that allows the train to run. So when we are running as an EMU on an OHLE, we have the pantograph on the middle car that takes the energy back here to the traction case, which from here we feed the motors. When we are getting outside of the electrified area, pantograph goes down, we stop feeding from the OHLE, and the energy starts coming from the batteries to the traction case, to the motors on the bogies.
Okay, time to have a quick cab tour. Alright, so standard train.
So we have ETCS, so signaling screen.
So that's the ETCS panel there.
That's right.
Okay, to the left.
The main driving screen, and
Okay.
we have 2 CCTV
And there's
screens.
CCTV screens there as well. Okay.
So-
Main control handle here.
Yeah. Traction and braking.
Yeah, I'm seeing it's 25%, 50%, 70% B-Max. B-Max, battery max.
No, it's brake.
Brake max. Oh, that because
here's
sorry,
the-
so towards you is brake.
so
Yeah,
here-
and then over here,
So we have the radio.
emergency brake, emergency panto down. That's fantastic because red is obviously emergency, but blue is the emergency panto. So you can just hit that,
Yeah, it disconnects everything.
and the pantograph comes down. So is the horn working?
No, I don't. Try it.
Can I pull that? I don't want to.
No, it's disconnected.
Horn is disconnected. Okay, and obviously cup holders.
Cup holder for
after
sure.
here. Okay, all right.
And one very nice
Oh, go
feature,
on. Final thing.
This thing here.
What's that?
So this we call it driver. Let's call it driver alert system.
Driver fatigue alert system. Okay.
So basically, what it does is it surveys the driver, and if it starts to show signs of fatigue, it will beep. It will start making noises.
So if I'm sat here and you're sort of doing the,
Yeah,
hang on, so it's like monitoring your face,
exactly.
scanning your facial patterns,
Exactly.
and will intervene if it thinks you've lost attention.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
So this we have. It's quite standard on the car industry. We started using it on tramways, and now we are putting it in the heavy rail.
And as mentioned earlier, I get to ask what DART Plus is.
Well, DART Plus is the investment program that includes these trains, but also a lot of infrastructure work that's basically going to double the capacity and treble the electrification of the Greater Dublin Area rail network. So it means the DART, or electric trains, will not terminate at Holt and Malahide. Now they'll continue north to Drogheda, they'll go west to Maynooth, they'll go southwest to Hazelhatch as well. So while we're getting these trains, we're also transforming the infrastructure in the Greater Dublin area. So the original DART is 40 years old this year. We've put little bits on at the end, like we extended to Malahide, we've extended to Greystones, we've lengthened platforms. But in terms of the capacity of what it can do, this is the most significant work that we've done in 40 years. And to actually have the tangibility of the train and the change that represents and the kind of customer improvements that represents here, I think it shows people who travel on the service now that, yeah, it's happening. This isn't just plans on a page, it's happening.
Wait a second. Just spotted something, and I'm going to pick on Juan again. Because, yeah, sure, you've got wide trains. I've just noticed the bogies sort of span, they're not under just one car because they're articulated trains. So
The first unique feature of Ireland is the track gauge. So it's a 1600 track gauge. And as we wanted to use a standard bogie, so we developed this architecture where each car has one bogie and is supported by an articulation. That means that for a 5-car train set, we have only 6 bogies. But it's not really a Jacob's bogie, it is a conventional one, which makes a really, really unique feature for these trains.
I've waited until the end, everyone's outside, so I've now got nice empty trains. I can get that shot of an empty train all the way down. Looks great. That is, I've got to get this right, this is the Extrapolis family of trains. It's X with an apostrophe. I'll put it on screen. It doesn't have a class number yet. I don't think it's been designated a number, but it is the Alstom Extrapolis family of trains. That's what they're calling it. Links in the description to more information and the Alstom website. That's it. I've had a great day. The announcements are just going off. The test announcements. I've had a great day in Dublin here. Thanks very much. Thanks to Alstom. Press subscribe. See you soon.